Greetings, Moonlight citizens. This is your Moonlight King, and I'm here with this episode of Moonlight Kingdom Reviews covering the first episode of the hit sports show, Playmakers. Yeah, I've never done this sort of thing before where we cover a whole show episodically, and I'm looking to give it a shot with this one because this show seems to be something special. Normally, when I cover a TV show, it's the whole thing in one big episode, but I want to try and do these episode by episode, so bear with me as we delve into the world of playmakers and Canadian football, Omar Gooding, and all them nice things. Right here on this episode of Moonlight Kingdom Reviews in 3, 2, 1, boom. I just finished watching the first episode of this show called Playmakers, and woo! Man, it's awesome. I can't believe they kicked this off the air, man. I can't believe ESPN got this show shut down. It's an amazing look into the life of football players, even if it's in Canada. I mean, you just know they wanted to do a show in the NFL, or a show about the NFL, but NFL wasn't having that. Burn myself with a match there. So that's why it's the CFL, the Canadian Football League. Okay, nice compromise, Omar Gooding's in it. There's a bunch of great actors in this. There's this one dude from Major Crimes. He was on the show Major Crimes with what's his name? I don't know. There was the dude who he plays Eldridge on 2.5 Men, and the bald Asian dude from that one Tony Scott movie with Robert Redford. He was on that show too. Well, he's the old white dude, not the old white dude who was the captain in Police Academy. The other old white dude. I'm not exactly narrowing shit down, but yeah. So I'm watching episode 1 of this show, and hot damn. Normally, a show, like a sports show or whatever, would have a central character. Like, the closest I get to watching a show about American football, or the closest I've ever gotten to watching American football, would probably be watching Dwayne Johnson's Ballers. That was a good show, but it wasn't so much about football as it was about the behind the scenes of football. It's the life of a football manager, Johnson's character evolves and changes over the course of the seasons, and how he ends up managing his own sports team, eventually getting an extreme sports team, I think. But yeah, that's okay. There was a pretty solid show. It was entertaining as much as honestly, the best part of the show, it wasn't Dwayne Johnson, because weirdly enough, Dwayne Johnson kind of plays the same kind of character. For a lot of his movies, Dwayne Johnson plays the same character. And on Ballers, there's not much difference between that character and Dwayne Johnson, except we see that guy in more vulnerable settings and moments that we would never see Dwayne Johnson in. So, yeah, except for outside of those scenes where we see him experience shit like doubt, it's not much. But this show, Playmakers, man, we have more than one protagonist. Got DH. You got like the aging football player who just got back from an injury and has to prove that he still got it, although for fear of being replaced by the new guy. That new guy, he's not all he's cracked up to be. He's got a drug problem and showing up late to games, and he's dragging his friend down with him. There's a dude who injured a player. He's one of the most aggressive players on the team. He injures somebody in that first episode, and you can see that it gets to him. So much so he visits the guy in hospital. It really bothers him. Like, damn, man, I injured a dude. I may have paralyzed the guy forever. Like, this has never happened before. Like, yeah, I go crazy out there and I hurt people, but they always get up. I hurt people, sure, but they'll be fine. Like, in a matter of months, they'll be back to who they were. It's watching the show, and not only do you focus on the players, but you also see what the coach gets up to, the kind of pressure that he's on. And this is just the first episode, man. There's so much set up in this episode of like, damn, I want to see what happens next. I want to see what happens when the piss man shows up, because they're testing for steroids and hormones and drugs. So now oh man, this new player, man, DH is going to be in trouble, man. When the piss man comes, it's going to be tough. But at the same time, it's not just the stuff on the field. It's the stuff off the field too. Like DH got pulled over for speeding tickets, and he was like, "Nah, it's gonna be all right." And his friend was stressing out. He was really stressing out. Like, man, we're late for practice. We're getting pulled over. They're gonna arrest us. He was like, "No, man, just don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay." And he tells a story of how he was at a party and this undercover cop had been shadowing them. He'd been sent there by the team owner, and the team owner called him in one day, showed him this tape that the undercover cop had made, and it was of him doing drugs. And then he thinks to himself, like, surely this is it, right? I'm finished. There's no coming back from this because the league is heavily against that kind of thing. But no, in fact, not only does he not shit can him, he's the number one guy on the team. He's the quarterback, and he tears up the tape and he suggests, I suggest you amend your behavior, and that's it. It was a suggestion. He's like, well, damn, if something that big that should not just get me suspended, but would get me kicked off the fucking team, is something that he can just be like, tear up the tape and be like, well, he's like, you should amend your behavior. If that's the reaction he gets to that, then fuck, I got a lot of leeway. I'm, he even says the rules are different when you're a playmaker. When you're the number one guy, rules, not the rules don't apply, but they apply to you in a different way. It's like George Orwell in Animal Farm. So all men are created equal, but some are more equal than others. The rules still apply, but not the same. They let him off. Thing is, he was busted doing 70 in a 30-mile zone, and they pulled him out. They cuffed him and they had him sit on the street, and they like radioed back or whatever. And when they got out after that radio call, they said, "Here, we are getting a ticket. It's just a warning since you were only doing 45 in the 30-mile zone." It's like, wait, what? I'm listening to this. I'm like, wait a minute, 45? You said it was 70. What happened? And you realize that's why he was so cool about it. That's why he was so chill, because as much as, yeah, the owners can be like, let you know, we are watching you, and, we can make evidence like this disappear, because you're a number one guy, we've invested so much money in you and whatever. They don't say this, but it's implied. You kind of get the idea that when they radioed in, about what to do in the situation, they got a call back like, hey, let him go. Just let it slide, okay? This guy's kind of a big deal. You do see how celebrities are treated differently than an ordinary person. An ordinary person gets pulled over doing 70 and 30 zone, and not only that, but like, okay, the guy had drugs on him. Yeah, he spilled them, and we don't know for sure if the cops knew the drugs were there, but like, yeah, the guy had drugs on him, and if you get busted for a speeding ticket, not just speeding like that, you don't just get a ticket and like be on your way. Like, you're doing 70, 30 to the point that they tell you to get out of the car and they cuff you, they're gonna arrest you. It's likely they're gonna arrest you. There's, that's what it is. But this guy got let off with a warning. It's like, hey, next time, here's the ticket. Just pay the ticket, whatever, you'll be fine. But hey, be careful, you were doing 40, but yeah. So he gets there, and the dude, like the character who, I don't know anybody's names, but there's this character who, he just got back from rehab, and he's been, he just got back from rehab, and he's looking to reestablish himself on the team to get his spot back. Because before he got hurt, he was the number one guy, and now DH is the number one guy. So he's like, hey, these last few months where I was in rehab, you were just loaning my spot. You were just holding my spot for me. I'm back. I'm gonna take back the number one spot on the team. I'm gonna be the guy again. DH is like, yeah, well, yeah, sure. Of course you are. Yeah, right. This it's good. The dialogue in the show is amazing. I can't quote all of it. Like, he's like, when dude comes back, DH goes, welcome back, man. It's always good to have a solid number two. Every team needs a solid number two. And it's like, shit. Oh, shit, man. Like, damn, man. The heat is real, man. Like, the hate between these two is very real. They don't like each other. Shirley and LaBisha, it's like they don't like each other, but they're professional enough that, like, okay, I'm not going to throw fisticuffs at you or anything. I'm going to let you know I don't like you, but I understand that you being here is good for the team. I understand that you being here, you being on that field, you are effective in your own ways. There's a reason you're here. I want to be here because it was my spot and I want to be here more than you, but I'm aware why you're here. And it's you do get into the behind the scenes of it all when you find out that this guy DH was selected by the owner, not the coach. If it was up to the coach, it would be the returning player who'd be in the starting lineup, not DH. But I think it's more of like a power move thing. The owner letting the coach know, hey, this is my team. You play who I tell you to play, not who you want to play. So he picks this guy and says, play him no matter what. Good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. Play him. So he plays the guy, even when they got like 20 minutes, not 20 minutes late. It's like, thing is, everybody shows up hours before a game starts, right? So they can practice, get warmed up, and everything's good. This dude shows up when there's 20 minutes left before no, not even 20 minutes left before the game starts. The game's about to start. The players have already come out of the tunnel and they're waiting on the sidelines for the game to start. And then DH shows up and they're like, well, we got to play him. Even though the original plan was to play the returning player coming from rehab. It's like, well, we got to play him. Orders up on high says we got to do it. So we're doing it. And that's that. It's like, very much there's some friction between the coach and the owner, as one would expect on a football team or any sports team. Some friction between what the owner wants and what the coach wants. Not only what the coach wants, what the owner wants, but what the owner wants and what the coach can deliver. Like, because as much as the owner owns the team and he has as much say as he does, he's not in there all day, every day. He doesn't fully understand what these dudes are capable of. All he sees is the results. He doesn't see the road it takes to get there. That's it's like a typical thing. The guy behind the desk is concerned with the money. He's concerned with, results and how it all turns out in the end. The end justifies the means. He doesn't care about the means, he just cares about the end. The coach is very much all about the means. Yeah, as for that player who injured that guy, he gets like PTSD about it almost, and he talks about how it reminds him of back in the day. He used to have this brother that he would play football with. Him and his brother were pushed by their dad to play football, and he just pushed them. It was like 100 degrees outside. They hadn't had any water, and he just kept pushing them and pushing them. So his brother was like visible to the point his brother was visibly throwing up right in front of him. But still, his dad did nothing. I'm just thinking, them. I'm watching this shit and I'm thinking to myself, yo, man, did you not see dude just throw up? And yeah, he did. He saw it and he just crossed his arms and are you just gonna stand there? Get back in formation. Get back to it, man. I was like pushing people in 100-degree weather, no water. What did you think was gonna happen? Because exactly what you thought would happen happened. The dude got heat stroke, passed out, and he was dead before he even got to the hospital, man. Like, after that, the dude, remember his name, the brother who lived, he never talked to his dad again. He changed his number to the number his brother would have had. And that's why he plays football, to honor his dead brother, to stick it to his dad. And now it's like he's seriously reconsidering why he does this, because like he seriously hurt somebody. Yeah, people get hurt, but like not to the level that the dude he hurt in this episode got hurt. Like, he may never walk again because this guy was paralyzed. The coaches tell him it was a clean hit. Medics telling him it was a clean hit. But the dude in the hospital, man, he's fucked up. He's like, there's this moment there where he visits the guy and it's like, hey, the doctors say you're getting better. And he's like, I wiggled a toe, asshole. It's like, oh shit. It's that bad. Like, I mean, yeah, it's pretty bad. Things like it does get, he's like all I did was wiggle a toe. I mean, that's progress. I mean, yeah, you're paralyzed. You can wiggle a toe. Yeah, you can move you can still move. You still have some minor level of mobility. So you're not totally fucking paralyzed. Like, yeah, you're paralyzed for the moment, but you will heal. It will, I think he'll heal. Granted, I don't think he'll ever go back to who he was before. I don't think he'll likely never play again if he's so paralyzed that what considered progress is that he wiggles one toe. It's likely he'll never be able to go back to who he once was, but yeah, it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. But yeah, the fact that he visited the dude in hospital and checked up on him, like, hey man, can we check up on you and I bought you some DVDs, just in case if you're into that kind of stuff, it just shows like, oh, this is a good dude. As angry as he gets, as like, as much as he plays with hate and anger because, deep down there's a part of him that doesn't want to play. And he even says as much. He says like, he doesn't actually like doing this. And there's this anger, and he thinks to himself like, so he plays out of anger and he dishes it out on those people because, man, somebody's got to pay for this. He's too scared to walk away from the sport, so he decides to stay, and that pisses him off. And he has to take that anger out on somebody, so he takes it out on his opponents. And that, I argue, that's kind of what got him in this mess in the first place. That's why it's got him so messed up. Thinking about quitting in the first place, it's like, damn, I really want to quit because I messed this dude up, and it reminded me of how my brother got messed up, and I don't want to do this because even his therapist told him to like, yeah, you're doing this to stick it to your dad. Your brother would have wanted it. What do you want? Do you actually want to do this, man? Do you actually want to keep hurting these people like this? And he thinks about it, but in that episode, it's like, yeah, ultimately, it's this fear that stops him, man. It's like, I think it's a fear, and this is just what I've seen in episode 1. I think it's a fear of like, if I do walk away, what then? There is no what then, because there is no day after, because in his eyes, it's Sunday. This is what I do. This is what I do on Sundays. I play the game. I'm a football player. There's nothing else because I haven't left any room for nothing else. This is all there is. This is all I am. And in his eyes, yeah, go with it. He gets back on the team. He's as fired up as before. And it's like, yeah, like, oh, let's go. And it's so, to give you an idea how crazy it is, he was sitting there listening to some tapes. And there's one guy comes up out of nowhere. And he like taps him on the shoulder, like, intensity, annihilation, destination, whatever. He's like, come on, hit me. And they're so fired up. But he's not in the headspace for that because he was just sitting there, minding his business, listening to tapes to calm him down. Out of nowhere, dude comes up, rips off the headphones, is like, come on! Tries to get him all fired up and shit. And instead, he just pisses him off and he like socks the shit out of him, busts his nose up. And the dude gets up, blood running down his nose. He's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's like, jeez, what's wrong with these people? This is how much testosterone and then downright steroids is going on in this room. And a dude punches you in the face, busts your nose, you get up all bleeding, and you're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Man, people are nuts. You people are crazy. Like, you have to be crazy to do this shit. The amount of shit you gotta go through to get this far, just to make it on the team, much less play, just to make it into the locker room, just to get that far in any level of sport. You've got to be some level of crazy, man. Like, why except you have someone who, I saw a clip in like there was a thing at the end that's like, oh, here's what you expect from episode 2. And they try to prescribe that same guy medication, and he's like, well, you trying to say I'm nuts? I'm like, man, this shit is crazy. What you went back out there. This is crazy. You might be going through some shit. They're trying to tell you, like, hey, man, we need to give you some antidepressants or something. It's like, well, you trying to say I'm crazy? Like, yeah, man, you suffered from, like, PTSD from some shit that happened years ago that you never addressed until something brought it back up. Like, you are kind of, you have to admit that this is kind of nuts. But yeah, I'm really interested to see where this show goes, man. I want to see what happens. Like, it shows football players. It's, even though this is the Canadian Football League, there's just so much in here that you can just imagine also happens in the NFL. It feels this show was seemingly designed to be showing, hey, here's what happens in the NFL behind the scenes. And NFL wasn't having that. So they said, nah, don't do this. So the show pivoted and was like, okay, we'll do the Canadian Football League. Don't even mention the NFL. No. This ain't no NFL. Don't even mention NFL in interviews or what the fuck. Don't compare NFL. Do nothing. Just Canadian football. Yeah. And yeah, for Canadian football, it's pretty American. I'll say this much. It's very, very American. Granted, we're following this one team that's mostly American dudes. So, okay, maybe the other teams, they got some a little bit more Canadian in them. But, like, yeah, this show is very American for a show that's supposedly Canadian in Canadian sports, Canadian football and all that. It's very, very American. But, yeah. Oh, man. I didn't think I'd get this much out of talking about this show, but yeah, I was turned on to this watching Ray Civic or Ray Sevic, that guy, where he talked about video games. He was talking about a football game that was kind of like the show Playmakers, and it kind of turned me on to this show. And apparently the whole show's on YouTube. Check it out. It's awesome. From I've only seen episode 1, so yeah, I'll let you know what happens later on. So yeah. This has been another episode of Moonlight Kingdom Reviews. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Do all them nice things. I've been your host, the Moonlight King. And peace out, y'all.
Yeah. Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes, but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off as friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone. It's so cold outside, I'm alone. Break down, always feel like I could break now, but I never let it take me to that place now. I won't ever let my thoughts get away now. I got better things to do, picking fate now. I just wanna be the best, call me great now. I don't know if I'm okay or insane now. I remember better days on the playground, hoping I can find my way to even when I'm feeling down, I fight. Even when I don't know what is right, I'ma pick a side and I'ma take pride. I will decide my fate and I will never let them tell me who I am. If you try to shape me, I'll be damned. Planet on the ground is where I stand. Never give up, that was always the plan. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone.